Welcome back to my channel, you guys. If you're new here, my name is Sydney. I film cruelty-free beauty videos all about shopping my stash, how I'm kind of navigating my low-buy, and I also talk a lot about indie makeup. So if that sounds like something that you guys would want to watch or content that you guys would enjoy watching, definitely stay tuned and subscribe to my channel. But today's video I am so excited about. I feel like these are my new favorite videos to film because today we're talking about some custom palettes. So I have done curated custom palettes for like seasons over the past couple months. I did a spring one, I did a summer one, I did a fall one. I can link those down below if you guys want to watch them. But today I thought it would be fun to do a Halloween one. But today I'm going to share these three palettes with you guys. I kind of based these off of various Halloween-y-ish things. I won't lie to you, Halloween is not my favorite holiday. Sometimes I'm like, let's just skip it and go to Thanksgiving and then Christmas, because Christmas is my absolute favorite holiday. But I was feeling really inspired this year to create some custom palettes. But I'm not going to blabber on too much further. In this video, I'm going to share these palettes with you guys, obviously, the inspiration behind them, some swatches, and let's just hop into it. I'm so excited, you guys. Alright, you guys, so I feel like I could not do this video without creating a better version of the Colourpop Hocus Pocus palette. Honestly, I didn't think it was that bad, but I was also like, I can do better. So I actually created a little bit more of a condensed version of the Hocus Pocus palette, and here is the little palette that I came up with. I am really happy with how this one came out. I was kind of looking at the Hocus Pocus one and I was gonna kind of try to dupe it like shade for shade, but I just wasn't in love with how that was turning out. So instead, I created this little bad boy and I am so excited with the result, you guys. I just really love it. This is the one I think am I most excited to dip into, this one or the next one? I don't know. I can't pick a favorite. It's just, they're all so pretty. Oh, and I wanted to mention before we hop into the palettes too much further that this video is actually a collaboration with my friend Anjou from Instagram. We really became friends like during quarantine. We started talking a lot more and she is just, I just love talking to her. Every time I get a message from her, it just brightens my day. She leaves the kindest comments on my videos and is always just so supportive. So I love you, Anjou. I'm so excited that we're doing this collaboration together. She doesn't have a YouTube channel, but all of her palettes will be on Instagram, so I'll be sure to link them down below. But anyways, let's hop into the Hocus Pocus palette. So this first shade right here is Sydney Grace Haven, and I think the last time I tried to include this in a video, it would not swatch properly with my finger, so let me grab a brush really quick. Alright, so this is Haven. This is a beautiful, soft kind of lavender-ish shade. Like it's a pinky lavender shade. It's a very light shadow, so if you have like a medium or deep skin tone, I probably wouldn't recommend this one. But Sydney Grace has a really great range of neutrals on their site, so I'm sure there's something comparable that's a little bit deeper. So there is that shadow right here. I'm gonna swatch these in rows across because that's how I wrote my notes, but I kind of like built this palette to be functional with like columns, if that makes sense. I mean, of course you can mix and match and do whatever you want, but that was just kind of my thought process. Alright, you guys, next up we have Colourpop Made to Last, and I'm going to use my brush again because it was kind of fun to use it last time. This is just like a fun light taupey shade, a great transition shade or mid-tone to start building up your crease. And then finally we have Sydney Grace Dirt Road, which is kind of like an ochre-y shade. It really reminds me of MAC Soft Ochre, but a little bit deeper. It's definitely got some yellow to it. I think it's a really pretty, fun, kind of grungy transition shade. Moving on to our second row, we have Lethal Cosmetics Terminus. This is one of my favorite berry shadows in my collection. I just think it's beautiful. I love the tone of it. Lethal's formula is really easy to work with. And I'm obsessed with the singles palettes that they create on their Instagram page. If you guys need singles inspiration, check out their page. All of their palettes are just gorgeous. Okay, you guys, I feel like the next three shadows are really the star of the show. The first one is Davina Asteria. Oh my goodness. Okay, we gotta do a close-up on this one. Look at how beautiful this shadow is. It shifts from like a green to a pink. I'm obsessed. It's probably one of my favorite single shadows. I won't lie. It's so magical. How beautiful is that? Oh my goodness. Next up we have Terra Moons Sundazed, which is a beautiful kind of like jeweled multi-chrome. I would say it shifts from red to like a bronzy shade to like a yellowish green. So pretty for fall. Here's that swatched out on my arm. Definitely more of a sultry shadow. Oh, yeah, it looks just like ruby on camera, but in person it has some other shifts. Okay guys, I had to have some purple in this palette, so I included Davina Cosmetics. I believe this is Starfire. It shifts from like that purple that you guys see in the pan to like a pinky shade. Here's a little close-up so you guys can hopefully see the shift a little better. And then here's it swatched out. I will say that these Willy Wonka shadows from Davina are a little bit, I don't want to say loosely packed, but they're not quite as creamy. They're a little bit chunkier than like a normal shadow, but honestly if you pop them over a glitter glue, you should have no issues at all. Alright you guys, next up we have Sydney Grace Siren Call, which is a beautiful kind of like teal green. It's super pretty. It's not like an olivey green, it's more like a forest green, I would say. And then finally we just have Sydney Grace Keep Smiling. I just wanted to throw some neutrals in here because the Colourpop one did have some neutrals. It wasn't like neutral, no, it was kind of neutral heavy. It was like neutrals with a pop of like berry and green. So I did kind of want to keep that element in this palette as well. So here is this palette, you guys. I will insert some better swatches that I'm going to do for my Instagram right here, so you guys can get like a cleaner feel for the color story. But I just love doing live swatches with you guys on camera. I feel like it's so fun and so exciting for me to like share these color stories that I create, and so I always like to include both. Alright you guys, so I was kind of like sitting there last night brainstorming, thinking about like Halloween-ish things with like monsters, and the second idea that came to mind is Scooby-Doo. And so I created a Scooby-Doo palette. I love Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo was like one of my favorite shows when I was a little kid. Once I like wasn't afraid of it, I was afraid of it for a little while. And I was like, you know what? Scooby-Doo has monsters and ghosts and it's like mystery and intrigue. And I'm like, that's fine for Halloween, let's just do it. So I was so excited to put this palette together, you guys. I kind of curated each column to be for like a different character. So like this one is Shaggy and Scooby, this one is Velma, this one is Daphne, and this one is Fred. I don't know, I had so much fun with it. I was so excited when I was kind of curating this palette, so let's hop into the shadows. Alright you guys, this one I am going to swatch kind of like up and down so you can see like each character. So for this one, I kicked it off with Sydney Grace Green Anjou, which is like a beautiful, I feel like this is like a Granny Smith green. It's a very pretty shadow. This one reminded me of Shaggy's shirt. Then I jumped into Clionadh Azure. I feel like I always say that word weird. This one is like a blackened iridescent multichrome. I think this is one of their deep multichromes. This one really reminded me of like the little dog tag on Scooby's collar, so I thought it was really cute because I feel like I could combine Shaggy and Scooby because I feel like Scooby is like brown and black and Shaggy has like brown pants, so I just, plus they're like an inseparable pair, so I just combined them. Oh, that shadow is so pretty. You guys, this is such a unique color story, in my opinion, like for what I usually create, that I am so excited to dive into looks with this. And then the final shade I included in this row is Sydney Grace Gulf Coast, which is a beautiful, super rich, deep warm brown. And there's Scooby and Shag! Okay, for my next row, I had to start with Velma, and the first shade I included is Clionadh Wildfire, which is this gorgeous, super metallic, like orangey shade. It's a beautiful shadow. Normally when I recommend Clionadh, I just recommend kind of sticking to their stained glass collection because I feel like that's where they shine, but this is one of the most gorgeous metallic oranges I have in my collection. I actually don't have a lot of metallic oranges, at least in like singles form. I definitely have some in palettes, but as far as singles go, Clionadh Wildfire is a good one. Okay, next up we have Sydney Grace Coral Reef, which is a beautiful kind of like fiery metallic coral shade. I wanted to include like the classic orange for Velma's like top, but I also thought this color was very Velma too. And then finally I included Lethal Cosmetics Unity, which is a beautiful kind of like deep plummy purpley shade. This one, I feel like, I couldn't remember what color Velma's shoes were. I feel like they're black or brown, but I thought they'd be more fun if they were plum. Next up we have the Daphne Row. And I kicked this row off with Emme Cosmetics Elysian, which is this beautiful, like, soft purpley tone. This is one of the purple tones that Daphne has in her dress. And then, of course, I had to include, like, a deeper, vibrant purple. And this is 143 from Colourpop. Of course, I had to include a little bit of green for Daphne's little, like, neckerchief thing. So this is Sydney Grace Granny Smith. It's a beautiful, vibrant green. Oh crap, we're running out of swatching room. We're gonna have to go down a little farther for Freddie. Alright, you guys, we are finally on to Freddie, and I wanted to kick this one off with the shade Powdered Sugar from Terra Moons. This is a super duper vibrant white metallic shade with a blue shift. It's really, really pretty. I didn't have like a straight up matte white, and honestly, like, I don't really have any purpose for a matte white in a palette anymore. I don't really set down my eyeshadow primer, so I felt like this was like a good compromise for like Freddie's shirt. And then you cannot forget the ascot. I feel like the ascot is what makes Freddie Freddie. So I included Clionadh Nectar. I already had that super intense orange tone from Velma, so I went with something a little bit softer, a little more peachy. And then finally I finished off the palette with Sydney Grace Nightfall, which is, how beautiful and intense is this blue? Freddie's blue pants. So here's the Scooby-Doo palette, you guys. I'll insert the better Instagram swatches right here as I wipe off my arm. I love this palette so, so much. Honestly, this is the one I was most excited to create, and it's the one I'm most excited to use. I would like to post a look on my Instagram story using these shadows the day that I'm posting this video. I'm not sure if my schedule will allow for that, but that's my goal, and I think if I do create a look, right now I'm feeling the Scooby-Doo palette, but I of course may change my mind. Alright, you guys, the final palette that I decided to create is themed around another one of my favorite Halloween-ish movies, and that is Ghostbusters. I love Ghostbusters. I feel very nostalgic toward Ghostbusters because, like, I remember watching it with my dad for the first time, and then of course I watched the new one when it came out with Melissa McCarthy. Well, I can't remember any of their actors that were in there. There were other female actors, but it was like the female version of Ghostbusters, and I thought that was cool too. So I wanted to create a little palette after it, and honestly, this one I struggled with a little bit because I didn't want it to be too identical to the Hocus Pocus one, and at one point they were looking like exactly the same. I'm like, I don't like it. So this one's a little bit more toned down, a little bit more neutral than my custom palettes tend to be. I love to play with color, and when I buy single shadows, that's usually what I gravitate towards, but I want to tone this one down a little bit because, like, they have like beige ghost hunting suits, but I have a couple of fun pops of color in here, so don't worry. Alright, you guys, the first shadow we have in here from Sydney Grace is called Pismo. This feels like one that might need the brush again. Well, it's not too bad. It's a fairly light taupey shade. It's a great, like, transition starter shade. I just kind of threw that one in because, again, the ghost fighting jumpsuits. Then we have Sydney Grace Tempest, and this totally reminded me of, like, the green glow around the ghosts. And, like, ectoplasm and all that nasty, slimy stuff. And then finally I included Terra Moons Red Giant, which we're going to do a close-up on this one. This shadow is iridescent multi-chrome goodness. It is so, so pretty. I included this one because it reminded me of those, oh, what are they called? The things that they shoot at the ghost to get it in the end. You know what I'm talking about? Like the tractor beam things. So that's what this shadow reminded me of. So I was like, I don't know. I'm so excited to add this one to the palette. Starting on the second row, we have Sydney Grace Escape, which is a beautiful mid-tone, kind of olivey green. This one I didn't really have a whole lot of rhyme or reason for adding, other than it was kind of like a dusty, neutral-ish shadow that I thought would look nice with the color story. Then we have Sydney Grace The Greatest Gift, and this is another kind of weird shade. It shifts from like a lilac base to like a green reflect. It's a really, really pretty shadow, and it just, like, it's a little bit transformative, it's a little bit weird, and so it kind of reminded me of a ghost, I think. I don't know. I'm not really into scary things, I'm not into ghost movies, so this is about as spooky as it gets for me. Then we have Emme Cosmetics Dream Lagoon, which is this beautiful blue shadow. If you guys saw the new Ghostbusters, I feel like this was like the color of that. Was it the first ghost? Or, no, I think it was the subway ghost. Like his aura. So that's why I chose that one. Alright, you guys, so next up is Sydney Grace Vanguard, which is a beautiful, deep, kind of like pukey brown shade. Honestly, I threw this one in because we needed some depth in this palette. This one doesn't have a special reason. The next one I threw in is Sydney Grace. I changed this one at the last minute, so I gotta check and see what the name is. This is Sydney Grace Key Lime, which is a beautiful deep green. Again, I just kind of felt like the palette needed some depth, so I threw that one in because I felt like it was more fun than a traditional brown. And then finally, I threw in the shade Harvest from Sydney Grace, which was the closest I had in my collection to like a red, at least in singles. I really need to depot my Blush Tribe Blossom palette so I have some more of those like primary matte singles colors. But I wanted to throw that in for like the Ghostbusters logo. So here's the Ghostbusters palette. Here are the better swatches that I'm going to do for Instagram. And there was sunshine outside when I started filming this, but it looks like it's gloomed back over again. I was so excited to possibly take some pictures today, but that might have to be another day project. But that's going to wrap up this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to head over to my Instagram to check out Angie's beautiful palettes that I'm sure she's still going to create. I'm so excited about this collaboration. I know she is too. That's gonna wrap this video up for me today. If you guys enjoy this type of video, I will link the previous videos that I've done that are like this down below. And if you did enjoy it, make sure to give it a thumbs up and let me know in a comment down below so I will continue making them. Thank you so much for watching, and before you guys go, I would love it if you left me a comment letting me know what your favorite Halloween movie is. It doesn't have to be like a scary movie because honestly I won't watch the scary movies, but like, do you like the Addams Family or like the Little Vampire or Caroline? Is Caroline a Halloween movie? I feel like that's the only like semi-scary movie that I can tolerate. I hope that you guys have a wonderful spooky Halloween season. I know it's gonna be kind of weird. I don't know if they're even like doing trick-or-treating, but I'm here making the best of it, making my custom palettes, and I hope that you guys have a good one. Bye!